Hi guys, I'm Kamisha Mickey, bringing up the end of the 2 wonderful days of presentations that you've had. I really hope you've enjoyed everything. It was wonderful information for me, even though I've been practicing and been doing this for a few years. I am going to end everything with a little bit about niching and networking. And I will be frank and honest with you, it's not rocket science, but there are things that we're somewhat reluctant to do when we're practicing, and they're necessary. You don't have to pare down your practice, but I will tell you some reasons that it's good, why it's good to pare down your practice. So a little bit about me. I am a talker. There won't be a lot of slides because I frequently don't follow the presentations that I write down. I just talk. I like a little back and forth. So please jump in if you have questions, you have anything to say. And I'm happy to help out however I can. I am from East Texas, small town East Texas. And I knew that I had a fascination with celebrity and fame and whatnot. And so I just knew I had to leave East Texas eventually. And I did leave East Texas. I actually went up to the Midwest, to Notre Dame for school. Loved it. I am the biggest Indy fan, the biggest supporter, no matter how many times Alabama or Clemson beats us on a football field. I enjoyed Notre Dame, and I always wanted to be a lawyer. I knew I was going to do it, and I assumed I would do it directly after school. However, I did not. After school, I needed a break. So I came to Houston because there was no possible way I was going back to small town. And I started working. I was in marketing and business development for years. My first job out of school, I worked for a savings and loan company. It was a regional savings and loan corporate office. It was nice. I made great money, especially for just coming out of school. Fantastic. I was bored to death. Eventually, I was laid off. It was, at the time I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But that ended up being a good thing for me, because being laid off kind of was the catalyst to where I am today. I started working for the radio station after I was laid off. I worked for them developing websites, taking pictures at concerts and events and things like that. And it was a blast. I loved it. However, I did not make savings and loan money doing, running around with the radio station and, doing concerts and whatnot. So eventually my dad was like, you're going to get a real job, because in their eyes, they did not see that as a real job. And so I worked for some record labels here in Houston as well. I worked for Swisher House at one point. I worked for Rec Shop Records. And then some of my friends were in A&R at like the Def Jams and those record labels. And so I would help out. And I still really wanted to be involved in that world, but I really didn't know how, considering my experience was the radio station. That was it. So I started working for different companies, and I eventually landed at a DNA testing company. And no joke, but the DNA testing company, yes, I worked for the company that came up with the slogan, "Who's your daddy?" And it was great. We were actually doing testing for, the Maury Povich show and the court shows at the time. And we wanted to get those tests into stores, which they are in stores now. And I do take some credit for that because I was on the team that started that. But what helped me finally start my law career, I would say, is that during that time, that the crime labs, the Houston Police Department crime lab and some of the others across the country, they were getting in trouble for not testing kits, not testing appropriately. And people were going to jail that should not have been in jail. And so at that time, they were looking for DNA testing companies to give proposals for taking over that testing. Our lab won. We started testing, and the very first test that we did, it freed a kid. And I call him a kid. He was 26 years old at that time, but he had been locked up since he was 17. He'd not done anything. So now I'm going to go be a lawyer right now. This is God telling me I need to do this. So I leave the DNA testing company. I start working for a law firm. I worked for, actually was a global law firm. I'm working in marketing, business development. It's awesome. I'm applying to law schools. I get into law school. In my mind, I'm going to be just the greatest criminal defense attorney, or the best divorce attorney ever in life. So I go through school still thinking, this is what I'm going to do. This is amazing. And I graduate and I started working I stayed at the firm for a year. They wanted me to stay. They were like, oh, we can train you. And of course, why not? That's great money working big firm. But I always knew there was no possible way I was working big firm. I did not like the extreme amount of hours, the busy work, never really touching, anything substantive for years. So I worked for a friend of mine that had a law firm for a year. And then I went out on my own with two friends of mine. We had a partnership and it was great. It was a partnership. We had that for 6 years. It was a general practice. Like I was doing business law, employment law, family law, like landlord, tenant, kind of the thing, whatever came in, whatever interested me at the time. And I was like, this is great, but everything was kind of word of mouth. We never had to advertise, but we would still get business and it would sustain us. And so I wasn't forced to really do any of the networking that I told, I had worked with other attorneys to help them do. Never really did any of the marketing, exercises that I'd helped other attorneys at other firms do to grow their business. It just wasn't necessary, so I didn't do it. And really, once you're having to do, the marketing and also do the work, it's kind of hard. I mean, just real talk, it's difficult. So I understand that. I didn't until I had to do them both, but I came to understand it. So eventually, after the 6 years with the partners, everyone decided like, I just want to do this, or I just want to do that. So we're like, we'll separate. We're still great friends. We still share an office and whatnot. But that's when I decided, you know what? I'm not going to do everything anymore. I was always afraid to just pick a couple of things to practice. It's a scary thing to me because I am one of, if not the most high-strung, laid-back person ever. And to me, to say that I was just going to do one thing, that made me kind of like freak out. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. So what I came to realize, some things that I've learned is like, okay, what do I like? Because if I can figure out exactly what I like, as far as law, then I can do, help start narrowing it down and do that. Well, I quickly realized criminal law was not for me. I was wrong. I can't take a loss in criminal law. I had a few criminal law cases. As a matter of fact, one of my very, very first case ever was criminal law. It was like a child abuse case, and we're working it. There was a lot of things that had gone wrong, and just say that the person was up for a life sentence, and we got it knocked down after trial and in front of a jury to like 15 years. It took forever for me to get over that. So I realized quickly, like, you know what? You take these losses too personally. You're almost in a depression after this. You can't do this. I did a few smaller cases and I won those, but it was not enough to make me go back and say, you know what? I'm going to be a criminal lawyer. Nope, not for me. I tried divorce. I'm okay with family law, but I don't like the people. And people are unreasonable when it comes to kids. So I decided I didn't want to do that either. So I know I want to do transactional work. So what transactional work am I familiar with that I can kind of take off with, and build a practice from? So some things that make me happy, which probably make a lot of people happy, not just me. I love makeup, fashion. I love to travel, music, I like experiences. And of course, I love football. Football is like one of my favorite things ever. Always has been since I was a small child. And at one point I thought I wanted to be a sports agent. And I was like, I don't like babysitting those kids. I have friends that are sports agents and it's just not that enjoyable. It's a lot of busy work as well. So I'm a lawyer. What is my law degree and my marketing degree going to get me together? So after doing this evaluation of what I like to do in the law and just general things that I like, okay, what did I learn? From having this fear to pare down my practice, I learned quickly that I had to get over this fear because it wasn't going to kill me to pare down a practice. Niching down does not mean that you can only be stuck doing one thing. That in my mind, that's what I thought. If I say I'm only going to do transactional, I'm only going to do trademarks. Now I can only do trademarks. It's the only thing I'll ever be able to do. Nobody will come to me for any other work. And then I'm going to get bored and then I'm not going to make any money. Because frankly, we all do this to make money. So then I'm like, okay, so then even if I get past that, how am I going to select what I'm going to do if it's not this one thing? And what if it doesn't work? What if I pick something kind of like I did criminal law and it doesn't work and then I make no money? Because I need money now. Like it's really hard, especially when you go out on your own, if you have not built up a client base as of yet. And we all get in the habit of kind of taking what we can to make money, to sustain us. It's kind of difficult to say, I'm just going to do that one thing when you have no clients, no network, nothing in that area. So how do we get over this? First of all, timing, organic development, and making it personal. I took the things I liked from both areas, the things I liked in marketing, the things I liked in the law, and just things I liked in general. Sports was always the common denominator. I like sports. What am I going to do with sports? I don't want to be an agent, but I'd always practice business law. With my business law, I always did contracts. I love contracts. I love drafting them. I love finding the mistakes in them. I love finding what they should have. I love a gotcha. I love contracts. I love sports. Sports has a lot of contracts, whether it's player contracts, but most importantly, a lot of endorsements, advertisements, things of that nature. Okay, we're getting somewhere. We're starting to find it. Even though in my mind, I felt like I should have come to this realization earlier. And that's a common mistake we make. There's no timing on when you should have your epiphany of what you want to do. You are your own person. This is your practice. Try some things. It will come to you. Whatever it is that you settle on, it will come to you. And there's nothing that says it has to be tomorrow, yesterday, you need it right now. That's not true. So take your time, try some things and find what you want to do. Eventually, whatever you like the most will rise up above everything else, and you will have a practice where you enjoy the work that you're doing. Because I enjoy my work so much, it's not like work. Like I have no problems, even looking up or trying to learn new things or new areas at all. And once you find this area, you need to be visible. You need to be out in the marketplace. You need to blog about it, write about it, speak about it. Make people know that you're the authority on whatever it is. It is not going to happen overnight. You'll need time to develop whatever it is you want to speak about. For instance, right now with athletes with NCAA, they're changing some rules that are very important to the clientele, that I have and that I focus on. And also with the change in rules, with them being able to make money off of their name, imaging, rights and whatnot. Also, there's this newfangled NFTs and, with Bitcoin and crypto technology and all those things. I, in particular, am not enamored with NFTs. However, the client base that I have and the clientele that I focus on, they're all over it. They love it. So what have I spent time doing? Learning all about NFTs, trying to figure out where I can, contribute an article, who can I partner up with, what can we do? Are there any speaking engagements that I can possibly jump in on, or any panels? Because that's what my client base is into right now. And I want to be the person to provide that service and information to them. It's not for everybody. Maybe that is something you totally don't want to do, and that's fine. But when you find what that is that you want to do, then go find a way to make everybody know that that's your area. That's what you want to do. Then you want to optimize your internet presence. Probably 90%, 95% of clients in any type of tech space, intellectual property, I feel is like a more tech type space. They're on the computers looking for people. They'll do word of mouth. I still get a high rate of clients from word of mouth. But I also, because I'm trying to do everything intellectual property, so I'm on the internet more, I'm on, my social media and whatnot more. people are looking for me through social media. They're looking for their IP attorney to be tech savvy, to be, ready for the next hottest thing on the internet. So that's what I focus on, trying to make sure that my Twitter is going, my Instagram is up to date, I'm sending out posts, on a regular basis. And I do fall short. I admit that I fall short because I still have a problem just handing over all of my things to someone else. But we're working on that. And I have somebody that's helping now. So I am, in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is important. LinkedIn is not going to be my foray to actual athletes or celebrities. That's not their forum. That's not the thing. However, I have been introduced to different agents and different executives that are in my space through LinkedIn. So it's just, you got to find who you're targeting with which platform and cater to them. And then you want to tell everybody. Once you've selected what you're going to do, tell everybody that's what you do. It doesn't matter if they need you right then. They might not. They may never need you, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to hear from someone else who may need you. And honestly, I found just being just a lawyer in general, people come to me for everything. It could be something wild, something I don't even practice. My mom is the greatest purveyor of this. She loves to send everybody, oh, my baby's a lawyer. Call her. Mom, that's not what I do. But she doesn't care. And they don't either. But when they call me, I don't do that. I actually do. And I ramble off what I do and tell them, but I have a referral for you. Let me get you their contact information. And that's going to be a great tip for networking, which will be the next thing we talk about. But yeah, tell everybody what you do. It's not going to hurt, but the more people that you can make know, hey, that person, I heard this before, bring you to the top of mind, the more it's going to help build your practice. And people will say, every time that thing is mentioned, oh, I know such and such that does that. And with intellectual property and trademark law, it's federal. So it's not like you only need to make this known in a small circle or just in your state or, just in your city, because you can practice this with clients from anywhere in the United States. So, use your alumni networks and use old jobs, friends that from there, and let them know this is what I do now. So if they hear people that need to do that, they call you. And last thing, when you're trying to pare down your practice, like I said, I was always scared that if I pared down, I could only do the one thing. Just know you can refine it and change it later. There's nothing saying that, you can't pivot, switch, change up to something else, because I've done it probably 3 times now. And like I said, every iteration of what I want to do, of, I've tried this and I don't like that so much. And these are not really the clients I want to work with, or this is not the subject matter that I like. Then I shirk things off. If this is not what I want to do, because you want to be happy. And I've not found one person who, one of 2 things, they're either working away at an area they don't really enjoy. It doesn't matter if they're making a lot of money in it. They don't enjoy it. They're forever looking for a way out of practicing. Either they want to leave the law altogether, or I'm just tired of this firm, or I'm tired of this work, and it's bad, blah, blah, blah. I personally love being a lawyer. And one reason I love it is because I love what I do. So it's not bad, like I said, to niche down and find what you really, really enjoy doing, because then it doesn't feel like work. You can continue to build yourself up in that area because you like it. Like I said, I don't like NFTs, but I'm going to be an expert. By the time everybody else catches on to this, I'll be the person telling them about it. And it just makes it easier. And once you know what your focus is, I tell you, it's a lot easier to network. And this is no lie. When people tell me to network more, I have that look on my face. I do. For years, my job was telling other attorneys, how to network, the benefits of networking. hey, you need to get out, you need to do X, Y, and Z, checking in on them, making sure they were doing it, making sure it was going. And then I became a lawyer, and all of that went out the window. Networking is hard. It's really hard because I don't like to people. I like to party. I like to socialize. I like to brunch. I like to be in great, fun social situations. But if you put a networking label on it and tell me, hey, you need to go here, you need to network, you need to talk to these people, I don't want to do it. But it's a necessary evil. We have to. Unless I just want business to trickle in and you don't want to grow. I mean, some people are perfectly fine with that. I'm not. I want to grow my business to such an extent that I want to put it on autopilot. Another reason that I do transactional work is I like to travel. With intellectual property, I can travel and be anywhere and still work. And that's important to me. So I need to network because I need a larger base of referrals, a larger base of clients, just larger network. So the problems I've had with networking is that I always feel like I'm bothering somebody. I feel like I will say the wrong thing. I feel like sometimes we think that we ask for too much and you appear like less knowledgeable. I think, if I ask this, they're going to think I'm stupid. They're going to think like, oh my gosh, why doesn't she know this? And that's a real me problem. And I thought it was just a me problem. But then when I talk to other people, I talk to friends, I talk to colleagues, we're all having the same issues. No one wants to feel like a bother or like you're bothering somebody. No one wants to feel like, ugh, like I just called this person and they sounded really busy. They don't really want to help me. They were just saying that, or I called them and they've not called me back, or I sent them an email. And now, like, if I see them again, I'm embarrassed. And I don't know why. It's not like I did something wrong. Like this person may have offered to mentor me or, told somebody, hey, tell her, give me a call. I can help. And so that's something that we have to get over and realize if they said they'll help, take advantage of their help. If they end up not helping, that's not your fault. That's not a you problem. It's not something to be embarrassed about or angry or upset about. It's just you go to the next one. Because I think each networking opportunity, I think it brings something different. And you don't have to take advantage of one opportunity for everything you need or everything you need to know. I think over time, and imposter syndrome. I mean, that's a lot. I would not ask questions because I don't want anybody to think, is she really trying to practice? Is she really a lawyer? Because she should know this or she should have done this. And then to like look down upon me for something. So I don't want to look too simple in front of the people that I seek help from. But I have gotten over this. I am in a much better place. I am happy to say. One reason, I went back to what I used to do for others. I actually started making time to have an actual networking plan. Winging it was not getting it done. It was too easy for me to say, oh, I'll just do it next time. Or, oh, I forgot about it. Or, oh, I didn't put that on my calendar. Or, nobody reminded me I needed to go to this place or do this. So the first thing I did was I made time to network because it's important. And so how do you become a networking rock star? Join industry organizations. That's not, again, it's not rocket science, but industry organizations can be attorney related or non-attorney related. All attorney related organizations are not for you, and there's no reason to join every single one that you're aware of. What happened for me is that I asked other attorneys in my space, hey, what do you know about this organization? What do you know about that one? What is it good for? Because I'm not going to pay money to join every organization just to say I'm a member. I need to get something from it, because that's how you should look at every networking opportunity, every organization that you join. What are you getting from it? What is it providing for you? How is it helping your practice? How is it helping you grow? If it's not doing anything, who cares that you joined it? Nobody else does. And you shouldn't. If it's not making you money or helping you grow, it's pointless. You need to attend relevant events and follow up with people that you've met. I am notoriously bad about that, or at least I was. If I email you once and you don't say anything, I was like, well, forget it. I'm not talking to you anymore. I mean, that's again, a me problem that I had to get over. Now, you may have to follow up 3, 4, 5 times. I do not recommend, hitting somebody up every single day. That could become a nuisance. But I will hit someone up once or twice a week for a few weeks following the time that I've met them. And that's because, maybe they're, really bogged down with something at the time. Maybe they thought they replied to you and didn't. I like to at least give them enough opportunities to say something back, whether that's, hey, I don't have time right now, or can we pick this up at this time? Or just, it's not something I'm interested in right now. I can tell you someone else that can help you, or I don't know, something about that. But at least give people enough time to respond to you, because you never know what's going on with them. You don't know what they're working on. They may legit just be super busy at that time, but still want to help you. And what's relevant? That depends on you and your practice focus. Relevant events for me may not be relevant events for you. If I'm working with, musicians, entertainers, athletes, I frequent a lot of parties. And it looks like a glamorous thing to do, but it can get tiring. But that's kind of where I find the people that I need to talk to. If I'm working with, with a DJ, I kind of need to, I'll go watch them, do their thing every now and again, or talk to their management. And they are at, these late night events sometimes. But if you're practicing, Silicon Valley, I only focus on these tech companies. Yeah, the parties are not going to be the relevant event for you. So you find out where the people you need to interact with, where are they? How do you become a part? How can you get in that space? That's what you want. And when you get in that space, don't make it all about you. Yes, you want people to know what you do. Yes, you want them to know that you're competent. Yes, you want them to know that you want to help them and you can help them. But I make a hit list. If I'm trying to get in a certain space, it's because I know a certain person is going to be there, or a certain type of person is going to be there. So I try to look up little information that I can. So I target those people once I get there. I want to target them. I want to mention something that they've done that either I'm interested in, something I've also researched, something I've worked with, so we can form this connection. I want them to know, like, hey, I'm super interested. I've read about you, and this is why I really want to work with you. Not because I want to work with you, I like your artist, and I think it'll make us both a lot of money. No, nobody's interested in that. But if you show it, because frankly, you're not the only attorney that wants to work with them. That's just real talk. But yeah, there are probably a lot of attorneys that want to work with them. They may even have an attorney already. I've worked with people who have already had legal counsel, and that's fine. I'm not trying to take any business from anybody. However, if things don't go well with them, you can always call me. I can try to help out how I can. Or if there's something smaller that person can't work on for you, hey, I would be happy to have a shot. I would be happy to try to work on that as well. So that's the finding the common ground with your target audience, like when you're going out, but also once you pick this subject matter and you're talking to, you're in these situations, you're talking to people, you don't have to have your full resume together. That's not necessary. You can just pick 1 or 2 things relevant to the space that you're in. Just keep repeating that to different people. It's not like every single person you talk to is going to be in the same circle or the same group with with everybody together every single time you move around the room. So it doesn't matter that you're repeating yourself. Get something that you're comfortable with, something that you are actually knowledgeable about and can actually espouse on, and just roll with that. It doesn't require a gazillion things or knowing everything about everyone in the room. Not necessary. And once you start these things, you have to nurture your network. I've seen often, even once someone helps you out or someone, seems that they're open to building this relationship with you, don't just hit up that person when you need some help. It's a pet peeve of mine, so I try my best not to do it to anyone else, but try to remain in contact. And no, you don't have to talk to them every week or what have you, but every month or every couple months, just kind of send a little, hey, how are you doing? Not that you want anything. You're not needing assistance. You're not needing help. You're genuinely just interested. Hey, how are you doing? Maybe we can get together soon, or maybe we can have a phone call or something soon. People like that you're interested in them, not just what they can give you, because those interactions and those relationships are what get you business. People hire who they like. I've always known that from day one, from like the first time I started working for law firms, that's been drilled into us. Even the large law firms that have the huge clients that spend all the money with them, people hire who they like. So you want to be the person that they enjoy speaking with, that they enjoy kind of hanging out with sometimes, or enjoy a lunch every now and again, because not only is this person, can they help me with X, Y, and Z, but hey, they're pretty cool and I like talking to them. So, it's not bad. Get together. That will get you business. I know some people don't think it will, but it will. And email is your friend. I positively abhor calling people. I will not cold call. I just can't stand it. Because again, that's earth shattering to me. If I call you and you either rush me off the phone or don't pick up, because God forbid I leave a message and you never call me back. And I'm just like, no. So email is my best friend. I love to send out emails, people that I've just met. I will email them the next day, sometimes the same evening. And I put the onus on them to just let me know when it's convenient for you, for a lunch, a coffee, a phone call, a chat, whatever. But I let, you reiterate, I want to help, or, we met here. This is what I'm trying to do. Either, this is what we discussed that night, or you tell them who gave you their name and let them know, I would love to do this. Please let me know, when it's convenient for you to do this, because now it's like, I'm not trying to bother you. And if you're interested, hit me back. We'll just, get it popping. We're going to start this relationship. If they, like I said, they may be busy, so you follow up and it may result in nothing, but probably 8 out of 10 times, I've always gotten a response. I've always been able to meet up again with that person and build a relationship. So, it works. It's just kind of nerve-wracking at first, or at least it was for me, and that I don't like to bother people. I don't like to call them. I don't like for them to seem like they're blowing me off, because then I take everything personal and I'm like, forget that person. I don't want to talk to them ever again. And you won't have a network if that's the attitude you go forth with. So I have quickly changed myself to make that work. And everything is a potential networking event. I will tell you, I am the world's greatest ear hustler. I can sit in a restaurant. I gotta be having brunch, drinks, whatever. And I seem like I'm just the person that hears everybody in their head. I'm listening to everything going on. If someone mentions something remotely related to something I know something about, or some work that I know I can do, I'm going to the restroom to walk by their table. And then on the way back, I'm gonna stop and talk to them. People don't mind that, especially if drinks are involved. You stop, tell them, oh, by the way, I just heard on the way to the restroom, yada, yada, yada. That's actually worked. And I used to be scared to do that, but it worked for someone else. And so I picked it up and I tried it and it works for me. Don't, intrude on private conversations, every time you're out somewhere. But if it's just a generic, especially with sports, people are talking sports all the time. And it's pretty easy to locate people who are involved in the sports world. That's whether they work for a team, they work for an athlete in some capacity or what have you. But and at parties, yeah, people are very, just say, free with information at parties. And so I listen and I see what's going on. And I always try to find, do I know anybody that knows that person? So I'll go around the room to my friends like, hey, do you know that person? And, and I try to have someone introduce me now. So everywhere you go can be a potential networking opportunity, depending on, like, hey, what's the crowd here? And you never know who you're eating with. You never know all the people that are in a restaurant. So you got, restaurants, you got the mall. I mean, and who really, I'm an online shopper, so really I'm not in the mall that often, but yeah, I'll go to the Galleria to get things from time to time. Never know who you might see. I've picked up clients there too. And so just be on the lookout for different opportunities for you to make a connection with someone. And maybe you don't just say, hey, here's my card. I'm a lawyer. Let me help you out. That's not it. Maybe you're just talking about some shoes that you both see. And somebody's like, oh, hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm a lawyer. You know, here's my card. They're going to ask what you practice, what you do. And again, that person, I guarantee you, I don't care what you told them that you practice. If they don't have an on-call lawyer already, the next time anything happens that requires a lawyer, they're going to call you. Hey, I was having this problem. I met you here, yada, yada, yada. And it goes from there. So take advantage of those opportunities whenever you can. Let's see. And my favorite tip for networking is get a networking buddy. I refuse to go to a networking event alone. And it's because I feel like a fish out of water if I don't know anyone else at the event. And so you kind of just stand around waiting to catch that other person, some other person in a corner by themselves. You're like, okay, let me sneak over and I can talk to that person because they're alone as well. Now, in a regular situation, I'll go to restaurants by myself. I mean, I'll go to any event. I'll go to concerts. I'll go to sporting events. I'll go anywhere alone and I'll talk to anyone around me. But again, if you slap a networking label on it, no, not the same thing. So you get a networking buddy. No one else knows if you and that person already knew each other or if y'all do the same thing. Sometimes it's non-attorney friends that I have to take with me. However, you can stand, you can talk to that person, kind of break the ice. The two of you can go meet other people in a group, kind of takes the pressure off. You can go talk to an individual that you see, kind of, you know, because they're probably feeling like you would be if you were alone, and talk to them. But a networking buddy takes the pressure off every single time. It seems like you're more free to speak to people. You don't feel as jittery. You don't feel like everyone's looking at you. So it's just a little bit easier to kind of strike off and have conversations and tell people what you do and kind of try to, collect cards so you can, try to touch base with those people later. I'm not a serial card collector. Just because I just don't feel that everyone, I want to build my networks, but I know I have a limited amount of time since I have to do the work and the marketing and whatnot. And there are some things that are just so far from you. It's great to exchange cards, if you want to keep them, fine, but it's probably not as beneficial. Like I have a lot of referrals from, since I used to do family law and I used to do estate planning. I do keep in touch with, family lawyers, estate planning lawyers, and I'll still attend their events every now and again because since I used to do that work, I get a lot of calls for that. And so since I get a lot of calls for that, of course, I want someone to refer them to because those same people now refer intellectual property and business clients to me. Now, I don't get as many criminal law calls at all. I think my time in that area was just too short. So it really doesn't make sense for me to build a huge list of criminal law attorneys. I have criminal law attorneys that I refer things to, awesome attorneys, excellent friends, but I'm not going to criminal law events to network or, try to build, a referral source from them. I do focus on, I stay in the business realm, I stay in the IP realm, but again, I do still do, family and estate planning and employment because I did employment law for probably 5 years. So I stay in those things because people are just naturally going to continue to call me for those things because that's what I used to do. And they've turned out to be excellent referral sources. When you refer good clients to attorneys, they are always more than happy and looking for ways to repay the favor. So that's like an excellent way to build your attorney referral network. Now, like I said, telling everybody what you do, that's a great way to build just your people network in general. And so, the larger your network is, the more of an authority you can become because people come to you with all the questions and, and that's a way to also build presentations, to build articles, build blog posts. People ask you about something that's kind of like, that's interesting, or I haven't seen a lot on it. Let me check that out. There you go. You got a new blog post. You got a new Instagram post, something to say about that. So those are the things you really want to do. It's not bad to pare down your practice, just a couple of things. A lot of things interface each other. That's why I do business law and intellectual property, because they kind of go hand in hand. My entrepreneurs, my small businesses, they have intellectual property. They need to secure and protect that intellectual property. And IP is such a burgeoning and a large field. I felt it deserved its own focus instead of just being a part of my business practice. And now, even though I try to narrow down the types of clients that I work with, kind of what I focus on, it's still something different almost every day. It's enough to keep me, I don't get bored with my practice. I don't just sit up like, I don't want to do this work today. I'm tired of this or I'm tired of that. No, it's really legitimately interesting to me now that I work with the clients I want to work with, now that I'm doing the work that I enjoy. So I don't have those days when I don't really want to do this. And speaking of not wanting to, kind of the spaces and meeting people as well, I will tell you, I've joined a variety of Facebook attorney groups. And I know some people like, Facebook is that's older people now, or it's not the thing anymore, whatever. But I will tell you that the intellectual property groups that I'm a member of, they have been the absolute most helpful attorneys ever. They're always ready to help you out with something. They don't mind the questions that you have to ask, because everybody realizes, hey, I was new at one time too. I've never felt like I was bothering somebody by asking questions in the group. And I honestly feel that that since I'm specializing as opposed to just the general attorney groups, like there's, Texas lawyers or, Texas, attorneys, they have different names, but it's pretty much the same people in every one of them. Sometimes you'll ask a question. I've legit got into arguments with attorneys that are trying to go back and forth about the facts and want to get down to all the, facts of the case and all the issues. I'm like, I just wanted to know this. I was only confused on this one thing, but thank you for making me feel like an idiot, like I shouldn't have asked the question. Never once have I felt like that in an IP group. I just feel like once you narrow things down, the group is smaller, but it just seems like it's just such a small world. There are people in every state, people in other countries, and they're all willing to help because there's enough business for everybody. So I've not run into the same issues with trying to reach out and build relationships and get to know people and brush up on areas that I'm not as well versed on. So that's an awesome thing. And I do suggest everyone do that. Join a group. I'm not saying go post. You have to go post up every day. But whenever you have a legitimate issue and a question, or you just want to sit down for coffee with someone or meet someone, if you're kind of like, I don't want to go to this networking event with all these people, reach out in one of the groups. I find there's always people that are happy to help. There's always people that are happy to meet with you. Always people that are happy to, hey, I need this document, or does anybody have any information for this? That's been a really, really wonderful thing since I decided I'm not going to practice everything. So, I guess in closing, please do not be afraid to pare down your practice and only focus on one or two things. I promise you will not go broke. I promise you will get business. You're just going to have to work at it. And it's a lot easier to work and push yourself as an authority in one or two areas, as opposed to, I just practice everything. I practice whatever comes through the door, and I get the money to, it's helping me to survive. And I just, whatever somebody brings me, I'll just learn what I need at that time. I don't suggest you practice that way. Like I said, niching down and networking has helped. My solo practice has grown, a gazillion times faster than the 6 years that I was in the partnership, and we were just kind of breaking off, practicing kind of whatever came to us, not specializing really in anything. And we're just kind of going, just whoever sent something our way, we were taking it. And it was okay for a while, but I have so much more business now that I'm actually having to hire people, which, that's a whole other issue in itself. But hey, that's a great place to be in, to be hiring someone and needing help because business is so good. So I encourage you all, try to get out there. Don't be afraid to network. Don't be afraid to pare down your practice and say, I'm only going to do these certain things. Business will come. You will survive. As a matter of fact, you will flourish. And if you have any questions ever, I promise you won't be bothering me. Feel free to reach out at any time. I'm always happy to help. And I hope these tips help some of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kamisha. This was really informative. I know for me, networking is huge, and I'm sure for the other attendees here, networking is a really, really important aspect of just being successful in entrepreneurship and such. So thank you for your time and the gems that you just dropped for all of us.
Really
Truly, it's just very relatable. I could definitely relate to you in so many aspects. Yeah, I appreciate the memes. The memes very
I love a meme.
A1. So thank you so much. But we do actually have a few questions if you have some time.
Sure.
Okay, great. So one of the questions that we have is, can you elaborate on the importance of diversity when it comes to networking?
Yes. My network is extremely diverse because, again, I worked for global firms, I work for mid-sized firms, and I work for smaller firms. I'm in Houston, and I know that Thurgood Marshall School of Law is here. I did not attend Thurgood. I attended South Texas College of Law. But for anyone coming to Houston, I will tell you, I have integrated or attempted to integrate myself in the Thurgood Marshall network and alumni. There's work to be done that people prefer us to do. It's not, once you build a trust within within our networks, then, that's also work. We're trying to build each other up. So I'm not saying don't do, at the large firms, I did not have there was rarely any diversity there, which was another reason I decided I did not want to practice there. You can often feel like a fish out of water. You don't feel supported. And so integrating myself in my alumni network, but also having the benefit of Thurgood Marshall School of Law network being here in Houston, especially, that also has helped my practice grow. I mean, they have not been afraid to take me in, to help me become acclimated more, because I wasn't raised in Houston, and to give me cases where, plain and simple, they want to help Black attorneys. They want to, to help us flourish, and there's enough for everybody. So it's very important that you don't only talk to, these large firm attorneys, they're going to be better. They're going to have a better network. They're going to, it's going to be more money. Those things are not true. So I feel like, just in general, I need gender diversity. I need different ethnicities in my network, and some people, that's how they focus their practice as well. Some people, I have friends that their practices are, I focus on Black women entrepreneurs. And Black women entrepreneurs want to work with Black women. And so, I think it's very important that you diversify in subject matter. Like I said, you don't want just your area to know people. You diversify as far as gender, and you also absolutely, and I don't know if some people look at that as bad or think, oh no, you can't do that, but I need a variety of races and ethnicities in my network. And I just like to be a friend kind of to everyone, because different perspectives always help. You're not going to know everything about everybody that comes to you.
I completely agree. The diversification of thought is like really important, just not only for professional development, just for self-development as well. So thank you. I do appreciate that mindset and that mentality to be able to diversify your network. So thank you. So we do have another question. So the question is, how do we make sure that we are intentional when networking in unfamiliar career fields?
Unfamiliar in something like you want to practice, or just in careers in general?
Well, to keep it into the law space, like for example, for to use the example, you used to practice divorce and family law, and then you made the switch over to intellectual property. So in your experience, how were you able to network to get from divorce lawyer to intellectual property is most likely what they meant.
Okay. Yes. Well, that comes kind of piggybacking off the last question, like the diversification of my network. I knew people in all the different spaces. So in my business practice, I had done some intellectual property work. And even in school, I liked it. Again, I was going to be a sports agent as well. I mean, I had all these things. I'm a Virgo and I'm all over the map. So I was going to be a sports agent as well. And I said, no, I don't want to be a sports agent. But my switch came from, again, I did love marketing and business development. I'd worked in that field for years before I ever became an attorney. So I was really looking for, what can I do that'll give me the best of both worlds? I don't want to leave the marketing space because I enjoyed it. I liked it. But I mean, I really love being a lawyer too. And so for the transactional field, intellectual property, I work with endorsements, sponsorships, and branding. And that heavily involved in marketing. So I would say whenever you're going to make a switch, again, look at what you enjoy doing, because I guarantee you probably already know someone that kind of in that space or in a related space. And it's easier when you have friends that can help make an introduction to someone that's already, either needing that service or working in that space. If you're going to something completely new, it's still doable. If you decide, hey, that looks interesting, let me try that. Again, that's where someone else's networking is going to help you, because see what's out there. Who's writing and pushing content on this? Normally, those people are okay when you kind of hit them up with an email or send them a question or something. Like, hey, I'm thinking about going into this space. Can we talk about it? That I've only done that a few times because, again, I'm networking averse. I don't like to people. But yeah, that's a way to help. If you are intentional, narrow down who you are trying to talk to and why. You don't want to talk to someone and be like, hey, I just need to know everything about it. I found that that's a failure every time. But if you find something specific and you want to talk to that person, go talk to another person about a specific something else. But kind of build and build and build until you're where you want to be.
Thank you. Thank you. As a member of the introvert tribe, I definitely appreciate those tips for sure. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So we do have a couple more questions for you, if you don't mind. So another one that we have is, how do you keep from overextending yourself when looking to network?
I just won't do it. Okay. There's always going to be an event. There's going to be tons of events. And I used to try to make them all, because I was like, you have to go here. They're saying you have to go here. Well, one, if you're going and not talking to anybody, it's a waste of your time. If you're going and you're not comfortable, if it's not the type of people that you really need to interface with, it's a waste of your time. So now I try to evaluate each event on how many people are going to be there. What's the point? What's the purpose of the event? Who's going to be there? A lot of times, sometimes they'll publish the list of who's going to be here. And, a lot of times it's just like, eh. So I ask people like, hey, I was thinking about going to this event. Have you ever been there? They're like, oh, it's like 10 people show up. It's nothing. And, nobody's ever, it's no good. Don't waste your time with stuff like this. Talk to people who have been there and who know, because the really good events, you will have a lot of people tell you the really good events. like I've attended or about to attend like the INTA conference. That's, a conference for IP lawyers. Alt Legal has a conference. And I actually last year attended that for the first time. And I made so many connections there. And it was virtual. It was not even in person, but I benefited the absolute most from their little 3-minute networking, virtual networking talks. And I'm actually looking forward to attending it this year. And the INTA conference, people say all the time, it is a heavy event for networking. That's probably pretty much, the main thing you get out of it. They got great, seminars and CLEs, but the networking is kind of why you would want to go there. So if you attend nothing else, from what I've heard, if you attend nothing else, you want to go to this conference. So ask people and you don't want to waste time networking when you could spend that time actually writing a blog that could go, be published somewhere. You can be sitting and talking with someone that can actually kind of refer you business or kind of get the word out that this is what you do. There are better ways to spend your time than I need to network, so I'm just going to go to this event. You don't want to do that. Evaluate them for what do you need to get from it? Are there people there that can help you do that? Are there people there that can give you that business? If it's not providing any of those things for you, there's no reason to go. There's no reason to be there. And I would say if you hit up a couple of good networking events a month, not a week. People are like, oh, you need to go network every week. No, you don't. Because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a lot of the same people anyways. So if you hit up, a really, really good event once or twice a month, I think you're fine. I mean, you still have to work. There's no way to just network every day. So yeah, evaluate them for if it can provide what you need from it. And I'm growing a practice, so I need people who can refer business to me. I need people who can make introductions for me. And if I can't get that from an event, I don't go.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. It's important to be intentional when networking and really setting yourself up. So thank you. We do have one more question. So this is jumping back earlier into your presentation. We believe that you mentioned something called NFTs.
Yes.
Could you tell us what those are?
Yes. NFTs are non-fungible tokens. And they're all the rage right now. I guess in a nutshell, it's kind of like a trading card, kind of like an athletic trading card, except it's digital. So in the sports world, the NBA and Mark Cuban kind of started this little thing where, so there's a LeBron James dunk. They made tokens to say, now I own the right to say, I bought this, the first token for the LeBron James dunk. It sold for like $270 million or something. It was crazy amount. But the reason I don't like them is because, it's kind of like they're saying like it's artwork kind of sort of, like it's a sign tag something, but the same dunk that someone just paid $200 million to say that I have this NFT for, I can go on YouTube and watch it. So it's like, what's the point? But people love it. Athletes are starting to make NFTs of like different moments of their own. Like Ron Gronkowski made a set, and it is 5 different, from the Super Bowls that he's gone to, 5 different touchdowns or something that he made, and they sold them. And they only sell a certain number. And so people are, they're assets. They're really big assets, but it's kind of like a deed to a house. The deed is not the actual house. It just says kind of you own the house. And in this instance, you don't own the actual happening, but I bought this token that gives me, that says I own this artwork, this digital artwork of this happening. And they're doing it with even their painting now. Like I can't remember what one of the players, like he's an artist, or he fancies himself an artist, and he painted something, had it digitized, and he sold an NFT for it. And so, like I said, I'm not a huge fan because I like things you can touch. Having, the right to say I paid $270 million for this LeBron dunk that I can go watch for free on YouTube, I'm not a fan. But the people that I interface with, they're fans. So since they're fans, it makes me have to be a fan. So I'm learning everything I can about NFTs. I started an article on NFTs, And I'm going to give them whatever they need to understand NFTs, how they work, how they make them go, how they get them, who owns, the copyrights for NFTs, all of those things. Because again, that's what my target audience is interested in. And that helps me get in front of them.
Okay. Thank you. That's interesting. I hadn't heard of NFTs until today. So thank you. So that looks like those are all of the questions we have for now. So how can you be contacted after the summit?
Email is wonderful. There's an email is your friend. Feel free to email me. If you go on my website, I'm pretty sure my email is there. Instagram, I always check my Instagram. It's always up first thing in the morning. I'm on Instagram. Like I said, I'm trying to even get better at posting regularly because I get clients from Instagram. I built my work in my firm Instagram. It's better than my personal Instagram. So, feel free to hit me on Instagram. If you go to my website and the email's not there, you can call me. Tell me this is where you saw me. I will call you back. I will not blow you off and say you're bothering me.
Okay, fantastic. It was a pleasure being in this space with you and listening to you talk about networking and NFTs now. Like, I know something I need to go Google now because I have no idea. But in all seriousness, this is really informative. Thank you so much for your time, for being here.
Thank you. I was really, really happy to participate, and I can't wait till next
year. Yes. So the last order of the night, we do have the CLE code. Very important. So last, it's going to be LOPSOID 1. Once again, that's LOPSOID 1. And now I will bring the reins to our host, Nina, to take us out. Nina?
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Sorry, guys. Y'all could not hear a word I was saying. But we're going to start over. So 13 women, they got together for this whole thing. And, like, they are right here below us on the screen. But, like, we all got together. Y'all don't know what's going on in these people's lives, okay? Just like what Kamisha said, y'all be emailing them and being upset and frustrated because people don't email you back fast enough. But y'all literally have no idea what these women sacrificed in order for them to be here with you guys today, virtually, for them to be with you guys, to put on presentations when they have stuff going on in their life. And I'm not going to get into it because that's their business, but I will tell you that each and every one of these speakers have really dedicated the time and the energy to be here for you guys because they value one thing, and that is collaboration and community. And that is what I see in all these women that have spoken today. And I can think of no better person to hear from as one of my last speakers, as one of the people who I networked with at a freaking alt legal conference. Kid you not, she still looks as fabulous as she did when I met her at the alt legal conference in this random new streaming platform that they put us on. I don't even remember. I know it starts with a B, but they put us on this thing and they told us to go network. And we set up our own networking calls and everything, and it was cool. But she looked fabulous then and now. And I just want to tell you guys, like, these women are some of the most phenomenal, talented people I have ever met. There will be more phenomenal, talented women that I could not highlight here today, but I can tell you this. There is not one woman that I have heard from today that made this more about them than they did about helping you get into this field and not be afraid. It's an all-female, all-minority woman lineup in the IP field because I don't let anybody who's not a minority IP lawyer speak. Why? Because there's enough people who are speaking that are non-minority, that are the leaders in the field. So if you're not minority, you can't come. Now, men, you are welcome. I didn't get my men speakers in this time, but we're going to work on it for next year. But I will tell you this. If you came here thinking that you might be a trademark lawyer, I hope you left here thinking you gonna be a trademark lawyer. And if you didn't connect with one of these speakers afterwards, you missed the point. The whole point of putting all of their contact information at the bottom of the ticker for every single video was so that you can contact them. So I want you guys to do that. And this is awesome. And of course, if you're listening to this, that means that you made it through the whole recorded session. Yes, it's recorded. It looked real though, didn't it? It did. But we're at the end of this whole summit and we still managed to make it look real flawless, seamless. You didn't even know she wasn't here. All right. So we love you guys. I hope that you guys really appreciate Kamisha. And we're going to go ahead and end your broadcast. But before we sign out, I want you guys to put in the chat what your favorite now speaker name was. Okay. I want it in the chat by the end. You guys have until the video goes off. All right. Bye, guys. Bye, Kamisha.